Hello and welcome to the Big Ideas Show. I'm Batchelor and today I'm joined by JANA ERNEST from the Folkestone Rainbow Centre. Hello.
Hello.
So can you tell us what is it you do at the Folkestone Rainbow Centre, please?
I work as a project manager for the Folkestone Church's winter shelter, which is running under the umbrella of the Rainbow Centre during the winter months. And I'm also a homeless support worker during the summer months, so working with homeless people all year round.
Brilliant. We're going to be chatting more about that after these titles. Thank you for joining us here on the Big Ideas Show. This is the show all about people and projects doing great things here in the community. And JANA, you're here to join me because we're going to be talking about kind of some of the great work you do supporting the homeless people, aren't you, right here in Folkestone?
That's right, yes.
Okay, before we get into that though, I have to say a quick thank you to our sponsors who are the Glass Whiteboard Company and also to The Grand, who are hosts for today, without whom this event wouldn't be possible. But JANA, we're going to come back to you. Can you tell us a little bit more? You told us a brief overview, but what is it you do kind of on a day-to-day basis at the Folkestone Rainbow Centre?
At the moment, we've had 12 weeks of the winter shelter open around 7 different churches in Folkestone. So I was overlooking the whole project as a project manager, so looking after the guests who stayed in the shelter, as well as the hundreds of volunteers that we have working with us on the shelter. And the project itself, seeing what we can do better in the following years. It's been 10th year of the project.
Wow.
So quite a challenge, first time for me running the project, and I would say hopefully successful for some of the most vulnerable people in our community.
Yeah, definitely. How many volunteers, you mentioned volunteers there, how many volunteers do you have that kind of come together?
In the winter shelter itself, we've got 184 actively working volunteers.
Wow. Okay.
But at the Rainbow Centre, we've got over 300 volunteers that help us run the everyday runnings of the shelter and the Rainbow Centre and the food bank and all the different projects that work under the Rainbow Centre umbrella.
Loads of stuff. And I want to hear now, kind of, you sound like you're really passionate about what you do. What's your story that got you to this stage and to kind of be doing the great work that you are?
Well, at first I was, by my upbringings, I was like, you need to be business oriented, money. So I studied business and economics, and then I decided I'm going to go traveling, and I ended up here. I didn't go very far from where I'm originally from, which is Czech Republic. And I started doing things here, and by coincidence I was working with asylum seekers, migrants, and had my own family, and then wanted to go back into working for people, social justice, working with people in mind and try to make a difference. And the Rainbow Centre were looking for someone to run the migrant support project at that time. So I did go for that, not knowing anything about the Rainbow Centre or homelessness in general. I wasn't very homeless aware at that time. Yeah. But as the Rainbow Centre is a very small charity, dependent on volunteers rather than members of staff, we were all sharing the office, all the staff members. So I was working directly with people who work with homeless people in Folkestone. So after this project finished, I stayed on and shared my experiences and worked with the homeless people, and I'm still there 5 years later.
Brilliant. So what is it you'd say that really inspires you most, and why is it you do what you do?
I think I'm very feisty when it comes to social justice. Yeah. I don't know where it comes from. I don't think it's upbringing or anything like that. I think I was just born like that. I just always fight for the less privileged and those that need that extra bit of help. And when something is unfair, I'm the first one to shout out about it, embarrass myself and the rest of people that are around me. And I've only learned that through life experience, and it's continuing. And the Rainbow Centre seems to give me that purpose of, I can make a difference. Plus, also being heard in the wider community so that others can help us to make that difference. Definitely. So it's still a little bit of a business there where I want to do better and explore and develop, but in the heart of it is helping people that need it, because we all may need it at some point in our lives.
Absolutely. So can you tell us a little bit about, I guess, what you class as some of the stories or the projects or the things that you're particularly proud of that you've been involved with kind of in the work at the Rainbow Centre?
Most recently is definitely the winter shelter. That's my passion, that's my baby, that's a project that I was given to look after, and I really did take it seriously. So the winter shelter and the the outcomes from the winter shelter this year, the fact that we were able to help about 50 people who were sleeping rough locally, as well as help some of those to make their lives better, housing them or supporting them through reconnecting with their families, or people who wanted to be repatriated to their country of origin. So helping those, that's been my most recent passion. But generally at the Rainbow Centre, helping people in crisis, whether they're homeless or on brink of becoming homeless, or whether there is another crisis in their life, whether it comes to mental health or alcohol issues, we come to us and we can help. We can give you that lifeline and try and work with you.
Yeah,
you don't say no to anyone at the Rainbow.
That's wonderful. I love hearing your passion for making a difference, and this is what this show's all about, is people like you that want to make a difference and are getting out there and doing it and kind of putting their all into it. But I want to hear a little bit more, I guess, about some of the challenges that the people you're working with are kind of going through. We're going to have a quick break now, but we'll be chatting more about that after this quick break. So we're here with JANA ERNEST. We've been chatting about your passion for making a difference, which I think is really powerful and a great thing, asset to have in the community, really, to drive change. But I want to hear more now about the challenges that you're fighting to make a difference to. It's obviously a challenging issue, kind of homelessness and how we can help people. Can you tell me a little bit more about some of the kind of really key challenges that the homeless people you work with are dealing with, and how you help them kind of break that cycle?
I mean, I've been looking after and working with homeless people for the past few years, and I have myself experienced the big changes in the when it comes to homelessness, in what it all brings together. So say even 5 years ago, if someone became homeless, they came to us, we gave them that necessary advocacy, refer them to the right places, contact the council, and they were on their way to sorting out their problems. More recently, we've seen an increase in people being rough sleeping, and also increase in people who not only were rough sleeping, but they had other issues connected to their homelessness, which is mental health issues and alcohol and other problems that were they were going through most of their lives, going back to their childhood. So the issues are much more complex.
Yeah.
Year by year, we're seeing more and more people sleeping rough on the streets and begging and not being able to get out of that cycle of being homeless.
Yeah, I mean, with it's a rise in definitely awareness and you know, maybe issues of mental health stuff across the whole population, whatever background you work in. Has that affected, do you think, is there been a rise in homelessness as a result of that, or do you think they're kind of parallel issues?
I think it's a vicious circle, and it's all interconnected. The fact that we are seeing cuts on all levels when it comes to helping people who are vulnerable. There is not enough help from the council, because the council depends on the centre funding from the centre government. They haven't got enough money. There's not enough affordable housing. Mental health teams are being slashed. You know, the numbers of people that are working with other guys and women with mental health issues, we're seeing less of that support available. And drug and alcohol issues are on the rise. And I think rather than someone becoming an alcoholic, and that's why they are losing their home, it's the other way around. It's if I was on the street, I would probably drink more than I do now that I am not homeless. Yeah.
So in an ideal world, what would you see as possible? Like, obviously, you know, funding is always going to be a thing, but in terms of how that funding is then used, what would you kind of want to see?
I think we need to turn it around a little bit, and it is starting to come to light that change needs to come now, where rather than walking past homeless people and either giving them change so that they can survive that particular day, or telling them, oh, find work, stop drinking, and then you can be housed, it's your fault. I think we need to turn it on its head a little bit, and maybe house them first, no questions asked, and then work with them.
Okay.
Because one of the basic needs we all have is to have a roof over our head. and feel safe.
Yeah.
And people are much more approachable, even during the winter shelter months. I mean, we've been running it for 12 weeks, yet the results of how many people we managed to get back into, you know, being housed has been percentage-wise so much higher than for the rest of the year in the homeless support service in the Rainbow Centre, because they are engaging with you. They get a good night's sleep, they are safe, they get a great meal in the evening cooked by the volunteers, which is homemade, lovely food. They get breakfast in the morning, and they get that safety net from us for those months staying in the shelter, and we can do so much more with them. So on a long-term scale, house them, and then ask those questions and see if we can help him anymore. And the successes from what I've heard from other projects in Scandinavian countries and around the world, housing people first works. It works.
Yeah.
Just get them off the streets.
Yeah. It's brilliant that you, like you said, that you've seen that success right here as well during the winter shelter. And
that's just a small example. It's not, you know, we only run it for 12 months, but we can work so intensely with them during those 12 weeks. Yeah. It's unbelievable. Yet we closed the shelter recently, and I've seen maybe 4 or 5 of the clients, and unfortunately we asked 13 clients to go back on the street when we had to shut the door. Yeah, it must be tough. The engagement has dropped immediately. Tough stuff. So if people out there kind of want to be able to do a bit more, but they don't really know how to, maybe kind of they feel awkward, and you said about giving money, but not really knowing if that's the right thing to do, but also not wanting to do nothing, what would your advice be to members of the public in how they can help? Research the channels available already working locally.
Okay.
You know, it's the Rainbow Centre, we're working locally. They can either volunteer, we always need money because we don't get any funding from the centre government. So come and volunteer for us. Come and help us in any way you can, rather than giving people money on the street. Tell them, go to the Rainbow Centre, I can take you, you know, help them, or just sit down with them and chat. You don't have to do anything major, just a little chat with them, you know, having a coffee and hear their stories. Just show them that we are all on the same level, we are all humans. Help. But if you want to do a little bit more, we are here at the Rainbow Centre. It's always looking for volunteers and ideas as well. You know, if you've got an idea of how you can help us, we are listening.
Brilliant. That sounds wonderful. So where can they find out more information? Where should they go if they want to volunteer, want to support in any way? What's your website? How can they get in touch?
The Rainbow Centre website is very simple. It's www.rainbow-centre.org. Or they can come in person. We are open Monday to Friday. So just ring the buzzer and come and see us upstairs. There will always be either a volunteer coordinator or another member of staff or a volunteer. We are volunteer-oriented to chat to you about what your options are and what you want to do, and go from there.
Brilliant. Sounds wonderful. Hopefully lots of people get in touch. It's been wonderful chatting. Thank you so much indeed for sharing your passion, because it's just so apparent, so it's wonderful. Thank you. And thank you out there for joining us today. And if you have an idea or you're passionate about making a difference in your community, then why not get in touch? We are the Big Ideas Show on all of the social media channels. And one final thing to say is a big thank you to everyone who has contributed and helped to make this event happen. Our sponsors, the Glass Whiteboard Company. We have the Grand in Folkestone for being our hosts, and we have our crew. We have Glenn on camera 2. We have Hannah on camera 3, and of course Hacks from Prisma Broadcast on camera 1. And behind the scenes we also have Erin from 6-2 and Warren from Flourish. So thank you to them, and thank you for listening. I'll see you next time.